Hi, my name is Abel Valdez, and I'm here to do a persuasive speech. And what I'd like to talk about today is wearing a bicycle helmet. So, does anyone in here ride a bicycle? Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. That's good. That's good to know. So, how many out of the 4? How many ride? How many use bicycle helmets? 2. So we've got 50% that wear a bicycle helmet. So, I wanted to talk about this today because I felt it was important because I ride a bike as often as I can. It's not as much as I like, but whenever I can I do. And I do use a bicycle helmet, but I didn't for a long time until I had a couple of incidents that said, you know what, I better start wearing a bicycle helmet. So I wanted to share some information with you about the stats, about why I think it's important that we use a bicycle helmet. So first off, it's been proven, the stats show that if you wear a bicycle helmet, that you can reduce your head injuries by as much as 85%. So just for the simple fact of putting on your helmet, if you get in an accident, you get in a crash with a car or something like that, 85% chance that you're going to be okay. You're going to have some bumps and bruises and all those kinds of things, but you won't have a severe head injury. More on the stats. So we start thinking about how bad is this? We start looking around and we see people that aren't wearing bicycle helmets and those kinds of things. So in 2009, there was a total of 630 cyclists that were killed when they had a crash with an automobile. So that's a pretty high number. And another number that I think is really compelling is out of those 630 that were killed, 91% did not wear a bicycle helmet. I was trying to get more recent data, but that's as far back as I could get it, or the most recent I could get was in 2009. And so that's what that number looks like currently. So to me that's pretty important. I mean, that's telling me that if all 630 of those were wearing a helmet, how many of those were actually being killed? When we say that 91% did not wear a bicycle helmet. Out of those 630, 49 was here in Texas, and the rest were spread throughout the U.S. So there's actually helmet laws that say that we are required to wear a bicycle helmet, and 21 states have these laws. Texas is one of them, and the laws state that anyone under the age of 18 is required to wear a bicycle helmet. It doesn't say anything about 18 and over, so it's only for the ones that are age 17 and less. And furthermore, for those that have kids, there's a local ordinance that states any parent that allows their child under the age of 14 to ride a bicycle without a helmet is subject to fine and penalty. So that kind of gives us a little bit of incentive to say, we care about our kids, but also if I don't make them wear their helmet, if I allow them to ride without one, we're going to be fined. So we start thinking about our laws effective, and I think a lot of the time that laws are effective or sometimes ineffective is because they're either enforced or they're not enforced. And just like coming to the library this evening, kind of running a little bit behind, we might have sped a little bit. So if the speed limit's 60, we're going 70 going down the freeway, and we know that's going to be okay because over time and time again that we go 70, we see police officers and they don't pull us over, we know it's okay. So the same thing applies to the kids running up and down the streets that we see, not wearing the bicycle helmets. There's a law that says they're supposed to wear them, but they're not. But if no one is enforcing that, if the law enforcement isn't pulling these kids over and getting them tickets, so why wear one, right? But as parents, I think we need to take a little bit more, take some initiative and say, you know what, I value my kid's life, I value my kids' well-being, I value their safety, so I'm going to start making them wear a helmet, even though they might not like it. But we do things for our kids sometimes that we don't like, that they don't like, but we know that we love them and we're doing it for their own good, right? So we're talking about laws a little bit, and I was wondering when I was doing my research, how long does it actually, or do helmet laws actually make a difference? So out of those 21 states that have helmet laws, they have a 60% less fatality rate when it comes to crashes with bikes, with cyclists, as opposed to the ones that do not have helmet laws. So that tells us it is effective. But I think, in my opinion, that if they enforce the law more, that rate would go up. And also it makes me wonder, well, if it's effective in these 21 states, what about the other states that we don't have helmet laws? Why aren't they doing anything about this? So to me it's important because, like I said, I ride a bike, and I've had a couple of crashes, and I know it wasn't a good thing for me. So, kind of brings us to the point to where why is it that we don't wear bicycle helmets? And I'm thinking, well, I did some research. I asked a couple of people, and a lot of the responses were, that they just rely on the people around them to be responsible for their safety. So if I'm driving down, or if I'm riding my bike and I'm coming up to an intersection, I'm just going to assume that the drivers see me, and I'm going to cross the intersection without taking into account that, well, maybe they didn't see me. So it really makes us think about if we're going to be defensive cyclists, we need to be aware of our surroundings. We need to make sure that if we're coming into an intersection and a car's coming our direction, that we make eye contact with that person. Because the whole thing is we want to avoid, having a collision there. If we can make eye contact with that person, we know they've seen us at least. I had an incident. I was coming into an intersection. I looked over to my left, and it was over here in Kingwood. And a lady came down, and she was looking to her left, and she was in the left-hand turn lane, and I was coming in, and I looked at the first two lanes, and I made eye contact with both of them. And then the third one, I thought she saw me, and I thought we made eye contact, and I pulled in. I kept on going. I was going very slow, 3-4 miles an hour, just getting across the intersection, and she just pulled right out. And when she saw me, she hit her brakes and hit me on the knee. Didn't knock me over or anything, but it really scared me. I mean, it scared me a lot, And I kind of got those pins and needle feeling and all that. If you've ever been scared really bad, got white in the face and those kinds of things. And after that, I was like, who knows what might happen? Who's knows? So I needed to protect myself because, I have, a family, and I wanted to make sure that they are protected, and so I have to protect myself, right? So, to summarize, wearing helmets reduces your head injuries by as much as 85% if you use it. You want to be proactive. You want to be able to use it before you get into an incident. Sorry, it was after the fact, it's too late. Also, I just want to share with you one last thing is that if you don't currently wear a helmet, please wear a helmet from now on. If you have kids, please make sure your kids are wearing their helmets. And also, your loved ones, please share this information with them as well. Okay, so, I'd like to open up now for some questions if anyone has any. Yes?
What different kinds of helmets are there? Like, what are they made out of?
Yeah.
Are there different uses for different helmets?
Absolutely. So Anna's asking if there are different kinds of helmets, what are the materials, what are their uses. And the typical bike helmet is plastic on the outside, and on the inside is styrofoam. One of the reasons some people think they shouldn't be wearing one is because it's big and bulky, but an actual helmet on average weighs between 7 and 8 ounces, and so it's a strong polyurethane on the outside and styrofoam on the inside. Some of them are made of carbon fiber, and they're a little more costly. They're extremely light, and it's the same thing on the inside. It has a suspension system that goes around your chin and to keep it on your head. But, that's a really good question.
So whenever you would fall off your bicycle, it would basically take the pressure off of your skull?
Absolutely. So just like a motorcycle helmet would, if you were hit by a car, you're thrown from your bike, and you're going to land on the street. As you hit the street, the helmet absorbs the impact, and it instead of absorbing the impact, that way your skull doesn't have the direct impact on the concrete or maybe even a tree, just depending on the situation. Yeah, that's a good question. Yes?
Do you have any other safety tips besides just that? I'm an avid cyclist, and I always find drivers on the road very frustrating.
Yeah, that's a. Any more tips? You have an avid cyclist, road bike or mountain bike?
It's a road bike.
Okay.
So I do triathlons.
Okay, cool. I ride a mountain bike, and I do ride on the streets every now and again. I think here recently, what I've learned that I could share with you is that if you're going to go off-road and if you're going to use a clipless pedal, you might not want to do that until you're familiar with that terrain, because there's going to be a lot of situations where you have to get out of your pedal in order to stabilize yourself. There's lots of potholes and roots and rocks and those kinds of things. So when you're clipped in, sometimes you just can't react quick enough and you fall down because you're clipped in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you ever get to the mountain bike side, that's one thing to consider is to use just a basic pedal, not a clipless pedal. Okay. Good question though. No. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that a lot of kids don't want to wear their helmets because they think they might not be cool or they get bullied? Did you get any statistics on that?
You know, I couldn't find any statistics on being bullied, but I do know that that's actually the case because, you know, I have my stepson, he's just turned 13 years old, and one of the main reasons that he didn't want to wear his helmet to school, because he rides his bike to school sometimes, is because he was scared that the kids were going to make fun of him. And I think that if you have, you know, 100 cyclists, 100 kids taking their bikes to school, and only one is wearing the bike helmet, surely they're going to be chastised, they're going to be made fun of, they're going to be poked at, and they're going to, you know, all that kind of thing goes on nowadays, and it seems worse now than it ever has when it comes to those kinds of things. So I think we really need to tell our kids, you know, to focus on what's important. I know that's hard to do at that age, you know, that teenage years, 8 to 12 to 15, but we really need to let them focus on why we want them to wear that helmet, and that's to keep them safe. You know, that's a good question. Thank you. Okay, if that's all the questions we have, thank you for your time.
Thank you.